I'm a 13-year-old female, and it was only a few months ago when this happened. I was on a hockey trip with the rest of my family. I don't play, but my siblings do. I'm generally a quiet person. I have social anxiety and don't react well to situations with people complimenting me or anything like that. My family had just pulled into a rest stop I was already familiar with. I was walking in to go get a drink with my little sister, who is 9, when she ran ahead of me. I didn't care much, but I wish she had stayed by my side, because not even a few seconds later, a Caucasian man who looked to be in his mid-40s honked his horn at me. I instantly jumped back, because I was right next to his car, which was a four-door red sedan. He started telling me how pretty I was, and how I should hop into their car. Being the unsocial person I am, I walked away with no reply. I ran inside to go meet up with my little sister. I'm pretty close with her, so I laughed about what just happened and told her. We didn't think much of it and left as soon as we came. The man made crude gestures to me as I walked back to my other siblings. I have 2 sisters and 1 brother. My brother is pretty intimidating and 16, while my other sister is 15 and not very intimidating. They both play hockey and are stronger than me. My family drove off and started to go to the hotel we were staying at. It was an hour or 2 away, so after a while we stopped at another rest stop so me and my siblings could stretch. I had already forgotten about the encounter with the man when I noticed a car pull up. It was a red four-door sedan. I didn't pay much attention at first until I walked into the restroom area. A man followed me in and just sat on the bench like he was waiting for someone. Wanting to avoid eye contact or talking, I pulled my little sister next to me and just spoke about video games with her. I waited until she was done to walk out with her, but my mum walked in and told me to go back to the car. I always avoid talking to strangers, and I get really nervous if someone even says hi to me, so I avoid any contact with people. As I walked back out, the man followed me. He was around the same height as me. I'm 5'8". He walked next to me and whispered into my ear something along the lines of, "You would look good tied to my bed." I don't completely remember what he said. I just tensed up and ran for my car, jumping into the back seat. I was scared now, but because I was an idiot, I only texted my friend about it. She told me it was some random creep and not to worry about it. I did as she said and forgot about it. I thought that was it for the encounters. Once my family got to our hotel, we only checked in and we went to the ice rink. We took longer than we thought, so we had to be at the rink immediately. I began to forget the man again. It was the start of the second period, and I was sitting outside the actual rink with my sister. I don't bother watching, at least not until now. My sister and I were playing some multiplayer game when a man sat right next to me and asked what I was playing. I got extremely uncomfortable and moved away only to have him move closer. He began asking me if I had a boyfriend, and I just pointed to my ear to pretend I was deaf. It was pretty stupid looking back, but if I had a plan, if he believed me. I don't know much sign language, but I know enough to pass a lie. Sadly, he didn't buy it and continued to ask. I stayed silent, ignoring him until he could put his cold hand on my thigh. I was wearing leggings, so I felt how cold his hand was. I jumped at it, and in turn he squeezed it. In the game me and my sister were playing, we could send messages, so I quickly looked at her and wrote in the chat of our game, "Ask me to go to the bathroom with you." She looked at me and realized what was going on. She walked over to me and told me she had to go to the bathroom. We hid in the bathroom for a while until the game was over. I didn't see him till the next game was going, which was the next day. My sister had a fever the day the game was, so I volunteered to stay with her at our hotel. I only really did it to avoid the man again. It was a few minutes later I heard a knock at the door. At this time, my little sister was downstairs getting breakfast from the hotel. I assumed it was her and opened the door. I hated what I saw instead of my sister. It was the same man as before. I was horrified. His face had a horrible grin on it. Before he could say anything, I slammed the door and decided it was a good time to call the police. I was crying at this point as I sat against the door and called the police. They arrived shortly after and the man was arrested. It turns out he had been taking pictures of me the whole trip. He had been following me the whole time, even when I was swimming with my siblings. From then on, I don't ever walk alone. I hate it. I just really hope I never see him again. It was the second scariest thing in my life.